Welcome back to Roundhouse Radio 98.3. I'm Kirk LaPointe. I'll be your host until 8 o'clock tonight. We're conducting a series of 11 Vancouver riding candidate discussions. And in this half hour, we're focusing on Vancouver-Point Grey. I'm really privileged to have the three principal candidates in the race. You have other candidates, don't you? You have been meeting them? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think there's 5 in total.
Okay, well, that's good. We've got the three main ones here. I'm pretty sure of that. Amanda Konkin is with the Greens, James Lombardi with the BC Liberals, and David Eby is with the NDP. He's also the sitting in MLA in the riding. Point Grey is an unusual riding in a lot of ways. It's surprisingly diverse, particularly from an age demographic. You know, lots of old people, lots of young people, I'm probably not in the young person's camp as a constituent, but tell me a little bit about what that means in terms of challenges and trying to frame policy and represent it to the province. James, let me start with you then on that one.
Yeah, it's a terrific question. I mean, most people perceive Point Grey as being, sort of the big houses on Point Grey Road. And, certainly there is that demographic.
There are a couple of those.
Yeah, there's some. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's incredibly diverse. I mean, it's 50% under the age of 35. We've got the largest concentration of, I think, 21 to 25-year-olds in the entire province. We've got a top 30 university. So, it's really about building a movement and a coalition that speaks to a broad range of people. So, we've knocked about 15,000 doors in the riding already. I'm going through every pair of shoes I own. And in any given day, you'll hear people wanting to know about what the Liberals are doing to take action to reduce wait times for elective surgeries. And we're investing $225 million to add 5,500 more over the next 2 years.
That's not the millennials asking you that question, I would assume. Yeah.
And on the flip side, young people want to know, how they're going to be able to afford to buy a home of their own. How they can get a leg up in this housing market. So I talked to them about what we're doing with the BC Home Partnership to partner with them on their down payment. So it's quite a wide range of conversations. And, I think in terms of the leadership that we need in this riding, you need someone who's going to be a bridge builder and knows how to bring, those diverse groups of voters and stakeholders together and sort of drive forward together.
David Eby, I sense the slightest of shots across the bow there.
Yeah, and I get it. I think James's heart is in the right place on these issues. I don't understand why he's running with the party he's running with. I mean, there's a serious issue in our province around political donations, and there's a serious issue around how decisions are made in this government. But locally, at the local level, the issue that I have with the BC Liberals and a lot of constituents have is that there are these small local issues that have been systematically ignored. So around Jericho lands, the community said a really simple thing. Before you sell the Jericho lands, will you consult with us? Will you have a conversation with us about what we'd like to see here, what would happen? That didn't happen. In the university endowment lands, we want to have a conversation about how local governance is done. Will you help us reform local governance? No, they wouldn't do it. We want to know what your plan is for the Pacific Spirit Park Works Yard. We won't tell you. It's secret. At the university, we want to make sure that you're addressing issues around student residences. There's this rule that makes it impossible to build the student residences. We need 4 years of inaction from the government. And so it's these little small issues that really stick with people. And I think that is going to be the problem that James has when he's knocking on the door, is working in the community for 4 years and understanding these small sub-communities within Vancouver-Point Grey and their issues is something the Liberals have done a very poor job of over the last 4 years.
I'm going to get to Amanda in a second, but I'll give James an opportunity to get back on that one. Are you hearing any of those things when you knock on doors?
Well, I mean, we hear every issue under the sun, but we are having an incredible response at the door. I mean, I give David great credit for his win in the last election. He got 11,000 votes, but it's critical to remember that 12,000 people also voted against him and voted for other parties. So, there's quite the range of opinions in the riding. And, David sort of asked the question as to why I'm running for the BC Liberals. I don't know how we're going to accomplish any of our plans if we don't have a sound government in place, if we don't have a growing economy that's creating jobs so that people can provide for their loved ones.
You still saw yourself as much more aligned with BC Liberals than any other party.
Absolutely. I'm often asked why I haven't run for the NDP because people make that assumption coming from the charitable sector. But I just don't look at it that way. We could have all the big ideas we wanted at Free the Children, but if we didn't have revenue coming in, if we didn't have a sound business plan, we weren't going to be able to accomplish any of it. It's precisely because of our economic progress and our balanced budgets and our AAA credit rating that we can build on this foundation and deliver progress.
Amanda, do these issues sound very pertinent when you are out there knocking on doors as well? Or are you picking up on the same thing?
Of course. I think one of the struggles that I've been having, and I really hope that the Greens open up this conversation, speaks to both what David and James are saying here. First of all, I think that the talk of the economy is all well and good when you put out positive statistics, but when we have the highest child poverty rate out of Canada, that speaks to a huge problem, that something is broken, something's not working with our economy.
Liberals would say that it's being reduced.
Well, reduced isn't fixed. So I think that there are so many other problems that we throw these statistics out about GDP without thinking about, are we investing in sustainable job growth, not just one-time job fixes to invest in sunset industries and broken infrastructure. And the Greens are really focused on this new economy. There are ways Vancouver is a beacon specifically. I mean, I've lived here and I do work in this new emerging economy where there are lots of green jobs and opportunity that we should actually be highlighting. So where you find job growth and where you find new choices in the economy are not necessarily just my way or the highway. There are other opportunities. We need to let people realize that. I do just want to really speak to what was happening earlier about what David was saying about talking to lower levels of government and working with multiple levels of government. It's also one of the reasons why I'm running with the Greens. I do believe that community voices are the strongest and most informed voices when it comes to things. I have a master's degree studying community-based dialogue, specifically through the use of theatrical and political means. And when the Greens say that they want to allocate government to the lowest level reasonable, we are committed to working with all levels of government where it is best suited. And if that is working with unique communities, specifically out in Point Grey or different areas of Vancouver, then that's what we're committed to doing.
I think all of you would be highly familiar. Some of you likely have even been on the lovely 99 as it tries to go westward in the morning or tries to go eastward in the evening. Does the subway need to come out to the riding, David?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We need rapid transit all the way out to UBC.
Is that feasible, the subway?
Yeah, it's absolutely feasible.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at this government's priorities and the sort of back of a napkin plan around the Massey Bridge and the Sightsee Dam that was exempted from the Utilities Commission that UBC tells us is going to cost an extra $1.5 billion in losses even after it's built. There is money available, but it's about choices. It's about the choices that you make, the priorities. There's huge economic growth that comes with making sure that UBC is well serviced by transit, that people are able to get through the Broadway corridor. It's a project that will create wonderful economic spin-offs if people can get in and out of UBC efficiently. And it's the kind of development that we need if we're going to have a low-carbon future. We're going to address our carbon emissions and so on.
Amanda Konkin of the Greens.
Well, this speaks really well to what I was mentioning about working with lowest levels of government. The BC Greens fully supports the Metro Vancouver Mayor's 10-year transit plan and really working with these local governments to figure out what is going to work best. We don't know what the solution will be, this Arbutus extension for the Broadway corridor. We don't know what the consequences of that will be, positive or negative. We need to work with the infrastructure and resources that these local communities have put in place, try to support them as best we can from a provincial standpoint, and address new problems as they arise, not just say one way or the highway. And that also goes with bridge tolls. When we're going against the needs of communities, like in the Metro Vancouver 10-year plan, with mayors saying that maybe reducing bridge tolls or getting rid of bridge tolls might not be the best solution to deal with congestion and traffic problems in Vancouver. It could just be a political tactic that both BC Liberals and BC NDP are using coming up to an election.
There'd be politics in the middle of a campaign.
I can't believe it either.
James, what do you think? Subway out to UBC?
You know, I definitely think it's something that should be on the table and we should be talking about. I mean, obviously, we want to find ways for people to get to UBC faster, cheaper, more efficiently. But to be able to say yes no matter what, I think is a stretch in my position right now. You know, I mean, it's $300 to $500 million per kilometer of road to build that subway. And there's 8.3 kilometers from Arbutus to UBC. I mean, that's 400. You know, it's
$4 or $5 billion.
Yeah,
project,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's right. Incredibly costly. It's not something that the mayors are asking for in their 10-year plan. And so I was a little bit, caught off guard when we had our debate at UBC a few weeks ago. And sort of David Eby rejected my call to build a business case, to have public consultation. You know, we're shortly hereafter headed to a debate at Point Grey United Church next week. And there are a lot of people who are adamantly opposed to this project. So their voices need to be heard and consulted in this.
All right, I got to lock down. I need 30-second answers from all of you, okay? Promise me. Let's say you're elected May 9th. What's your first bit of advice for the Premier very quickly, James?
It's interesting. I mean, I think I'd love to talk to the Premier about representing millennial voices. I think there's a lot that we've done for this generation already, but I look at the addition of a seniors advocate. I think we could really accomplish a lot with a millennial advocate. Government sort of needs to be flipped on its head in what resources we devote to the younger generations of our society, because, there's huge generational and global shifts happening right now, and I think we need to be attuned to that.
Okay. Amanda Konkin of the Greens.
I think people should check out the BC Greens platform online. And my biggest advice, Dr. Andrew Weaver has been instrumental in the vision for the Greens this election, and I think he has a great vision for the province. I would obviously support him 100% in implementing many of the changes that are in our platform that would specifically lead to evidence-based policy, working across party lines, making sure that we're making the best choices for British Columbians. And Andrew, while he's been sitting in the legislature, has always been an advocate for that, always done that, and I would encourage us in government to continue on that trend and speak for all British Columbians.
David Eby, I'll give you the last word. Your bit of advice for a Premier after May 9.
The priority is affordable housing. We have an affordable housing crisis, not just in Vancouver-Point Grey, not just in Vancouver and Metro Vancouver, but across the province. Prioritize that as our first issue. And also, just as a note to James, if he's opposed to rapid transit to UBC, you should make that really clear so that people can vote on that in this election. He can't walk up the middle and say, well, to one group, I'm in favor of rapid transit, and to another group, I'm opposed. I think he should take a stand on that. And if it's not now, then I hope he does it at the Point Grey debate.
Well, you got in the last word there. That was very clever. Anyway, we have to take it off here. I want to thank all three of you. You've been very generous with your time today. Good luck on the 9th of May. It's an ordeal to go through this. I have a little bit of experience in it. James Lombardi of the Liberals, Amanda Konkin of the Greens, and David Eby of the NDP. Thanks a lot for your time today.
Thanks, Kirk.
Thank you very much.
Listen to Roundhouse Radio 98.3, and I'm Kirk LaPointe.